this conversation is going to stay with just the planning commission. My understanding is we really need to talk loud in order for the voices to be picked up on the Zoom. You guys have mics, so you're probably not going to struggle with that as much. So if I'm yelling, I'm just doing it so we can be heard over the microphone.
Right. And remember to see you like you've got to touch the green light has to be on.
Okay, so the purpose of this meeting really is for you guys, the planning commission, to give staff direction on amending the map that we've been talking about for months now. You've all seen and heard the public comments that were attached to your last planning commission packet. Did you bring that petition?
I did. So you've got two more comments. Well, one comment from the public and then the petition against the road G bypass that was going out by the county. So I just have two copies of these if you can just pass them around. So here's our comment and then here's the petition signed against having the road G bypass shown on the map. I'll start it this way. And so,
Is that the bypass right there? Okay, yeah.
This is the 3 mile version of the map, so we're trying to do some introductory things. This is kind of casual, so just, again, I want this to be a conversation. This right here is a 1 mile concept.
This is
What you have on your tables is a blank map, and we'll kind of get to that agenda item here in a second. This is the 3 mile map that we've been reviewing mostly in the public and seeing this map, and that was what we most recently made recommendations on. This is the zoning map, just for reference, so we wanted to see where our more intense land uses are located. And then this is an air photo. So again, you can kind of see what's going on out in the county from the air. So we'd like to kind of work through the agenda, so stick to the agenda items in order. So again, this is just it's a conversation. Neva is going to try, we're going to try and distill down some consensus items and items where we feel like we are getting direction from you. So Neva's going to kind of keep track of that, and then we'll kind of go over it in the meeting and say, this is what we've heard. So when we come back to you, with any recommendations or reports back and changes we're proposing to make to the map, we'll have a record of that based on this discussion tonight. So the first agenda item is the 3 mile area. I think we just want to kind of make that clear and kind of move on from that we are not legally bound to drawing streets all the way out to the 3 mile buffer. So, if there's any more discussion on that, now we kind of have it, but I think tying into that idea, staff really feels that we should move the back to a 1 mile area and focus on streets there. And I think a lot of the reason for that is because we're not annexing at a rapid pace. So really, if we for right now focus on this area, we're probably going to be we're going to have our needs met for the foreseeable future. So I think that's kind of staff's recommendation. And so I'm just curious what you all feel about that. If everyone feels like, let's just focus on this 1 mile area, we can kind of just take this down. And focus on what alignments are most important here.
Tracy, personally, I feel that we need to focus on the 1 mile. Simply because I think we need to take it slower and easier than we were going. It's like the master street plan. You can get too big so that you don't understand really what's going on in the northeast corner as compared to the southeast corner. If you shrink it down inside, you get a quicker and better understanding, in my opinion.
Okay.
I agree 100% with the thought process and the ideology behind that. If we're not bound by statute to extend to the 3 mile, I think it's 100% solid to focus on a tighter route to the city of Cortez. One question I have though is every time that a county subdivision or a county something comes across to us, we're always in the motion. It's the 3 mile urban influence zone. So if we don't have a plan beyond 1 mile, right, then what is the statute that says, why are we, you understand what I'm saying? Because it's saying, hey, this is within the 3 mile urban influence zone. And if we only have a 1 mile plan, then obviously anything between 1 and 3 miles is going to be in accordance with the master streets plan. We don't have a plan to extend out to that. So don't get me wrong, I'm 100% on board with the 1 mile plan, especially if we're not bound by statute to do so. But what exactly, I mean, what is forcing us to review county subdivisions or projects between 1 and 3 miles that we're saying, hey, it's in accordance with the master streets plan, that we really don't have a plan?
Right, and so one way we can address that is in the text of the plan itself, which would be, we just acknowledge that we aren't drawing alignments outside of the 1 mile area, and we could, again, I want to make sure if this is fully legal, but I feel like we could make in that plan a policy that the county, we don't have to vote on those in terms of their compliance with the plan, and we could just say, because there's no alignments, they're therefore in compliance, and potentially just make a blanket authorization if we're going to require those plat certificates that the chair can sign the plats when we can verify that the subdivision's out here, and therefore there's no need.
And the reason why I look at it is this way, because if there is a county subdivision between 1 and 3 miles, right, and that applicant does everything in their power to get their stuff done quickly, and let's say that they got everything done on the county side the day after we had our meeting, well, they're going to sit and wait for us for another month. If they're in that 1 to 3 mile zone, if legally you can say, hey, city staff can review it, and essentially because we don't have any plan beyond the 1 mile, you guys just do a quick review, and hey, we're good to go. We can have the chair sign it. We don't have to bring it to a vote. That's going to expedite the subdividing process for those applicants on the other side. And I think that's just being respectful, because we're here to work with people. And if we don't have a plan beyond 1 mile, then let's get that thing through, and let's get these people through their project. I mean, does everybody see what I'm saying? Because if we're going to review subdivisions if we're only going to go out to 1 mile outside of the city limits, right? And then if it's the 3 mile urban influence zone, we don't have a zone or a plan to look at it to see if it's really in accordance with the master streets plan. Why do we need to review it? We don't have a master streets plan that extends between 1 and 3 miles.
Yeah, that I can understand. I thought it was Rebecca. I thought Rebecca said it was statute and you do 3 mile.
Well, that's what my impression was, but I think that Tracy has consulted the city attorney and the master streets plan. There's a 3 mile plan, and then there's the master streets plan. And the master streets plan does not have to extend to the 3 miles, correct?
Correct, there's no attached to a requirement for that.
But how does the 3 mile urban influence zone tie into?
So the city has authority to review the subdivisions with regards to an adopted master street plan, but we're not required to have the master street plan all the way to the 3 mile area. We don't have to draw the streets all the way to the 3 mile area. I think the confusion is just that we are required to have a 3 mile plan for if someone asks to annex into the city. So I think the concepts are just getting kind of convoluted.
And they are actually 2 separate plans. They are 2 separate plans, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just what I'm saying is if we have a way that we can expedite that process for the county planning and zoning, if they're required to say, hey, City of Cortez, this is within your 3 mile zone, well, if we already know that we don't have a plan a master streets plan that extends that far, then I don't know the legality of that. That's gonna be a question for Mr. Green. But
I think we're probably safe to say that there, you know, we can make a policy of not requiring it to come to the planning commission for a decision. I'm not, you know, I don't wanna put that in stone until we vetted it, but, just
Sure.
because that's been our practice for years, but, I think there's a way to not do that, not bring it to the planning commission.
because I mean, there's quite a few that are beyond, you know, our current master streets plan, and it's basically for us, it's a rubber stamp, for lack of a better term.
I'm wondering if it's just to keep the city aware of what's going on in the county. More so than we have to have some plan, blah, blah, blah.
I don't, yeah, I mean, it's, again, it's kind of how we're choosing to review it on some level, but yes, I mean, and again, if you guys still want them brought forward, but know that you're gonna approve it for compliance with the street plan, you can certainly go that route too. You could not, it's just the process of saying it's in compliance, which is what we're doing now. It's in compliance if there's no street in the area, so we know that there won't be any from, you know, here to here, if it's a 1 mile map.
Well, I think that the 3 mile area of influence is, it's more than just subdivisions that we're looking at. We're looking at development that might not be in the city's best interest. I mean, if somebody wanted to put in a nuclear plant down on G Road and 491, we would still have a way to voice our opinion on that, correct? I mean, that's going to extreme, but I think we still need to review the 3 mile area of influence stuff, not just for the streets, but for the other issues as well. I mean, that's my opinion on that.
But do we have any jurisdiction? It's the county.
Have we ever said no? I mean, we haven't said no since I've been on the commission, but.
Only commented on projects that were really next to city owned.
Right.
In a real specific way.
Right.
Anything outside of county might point out a concern about how it's, you know, how it's meeting county's code or, you know, things we think they should consider, but in history that I've been here, mostly the only projects we've really brought forward specific comments have been ones of an adjacent landowner. And with regards to certain uses, if it's not a subdivision, we actually don't have authority between the 1 and 3 mile area.
Right.
So that's a courtesy for us to comment on the county packets.
And we commented, or we've made comments before. Do we know if they're even read or considered, or does it when the council sends it on, or are those included in the?
When we're an adjacent landowner, yes, we have forwarded them on to council. If you guys write a letter without taking it to council because it's not an adjacent property to a city-owned land, you know, we do send it on to the county. I believe they forward it to their planning commission.
But they never responded.
No, we've never had any, I mean, you know, right outside the city, like the recent project, they needed water taps from the city, so that kind of had a more, you know, we were in that situation, a utility company, so it was being addressed from that perspective.
Right.
So
So.
again, that would be covered under the 1 mile.
Right, and I agree with the 1 mile or the city adjacent properties that could be potentially developed to be part of the street plan. I also agree that we don't need to go out 3 miles at this point on the street plan, but I don't want to give up our right or our ability to comment on not development, but not housing development, but development around in our 3 mile sphere of influence. I think we should reserve the right to comment on those.
So what you're saying is that 3 mile urban influence, that's
Right.
what it's been referred to as, influence.
Right. But I certainly agree with, you know, at least currently, that the 1 mile street plan or city adjacent street plan, for developments is the right way for us to go at this point. You know, if all of a sudden we get a huge industrial employer in here where that'll employ 500 people and houses will grow, you know, start being developed like they were in the 50s and 60s with the oil development, then we'll have to look at expanding it maybe past that, but that's certainly a long ways in the future and a lot of ifs that we need to consider.
So, for the sake of this discussion tonight, we can agree that we're not gonna extend dashed street lines past the 1 mile boundary. Okay, so that at least we can all say we're good on.
And if we can find out some more information on that, you know, in between 1 and 3 mile zone, you know, as far as legality goes, I think that maybe at that point, we can fall back on our staff. And whenever they have a county packet review that's in between 1 and 3 mile, if it's something where it's just a subdivision and really all we're worried about is street alignment or something of that nature, if they feel like it's good to go because we only have 1 mile master street plan, then that's their decision to make that comment or whatever. And if it's something other than you had referred to, they feel it's in the best interest to put it forward to planning and zoning, then I don't think that we're necessarily taking ourselves away from our seat at the table to make a comment. But again, I think it falls back on what Robbie said, of really where's our jurisdiction line and
So following that train of thought, that he's something in that power boundary. And I'm supposed to sign, or Jared person's supposed to sign a plat. Does that need to come before the commission, or can we rely on the city staff to say, this is in that outer area, but still need to have the community sign a plat?
Yeah, I think that's the clarification we're gonna get. Is there a way to grant you that power of signing in fact, a discussion and a decision?
Yes.
which maybe it's just another signature block that says, hey, it's in compliance with the fact that we don't have a plan beyond 1 mile. And if it lands in that, I mean, it's a moot point because we could vote on it, but we don't have a plan to review whether there are street alignments or not. So I mean, the vote's gonna be yes from everybody. Because why would anybody vote no on something that we can't analyze since we don't have a map for it? So maybe it's gonna be a different signature block on those subdivisions that are in the 1 to 3 mile zone, and the ones that are within the 3 mile zone where we actually have a plan. Then we can actually say, hey, this is squared away, and we do bring those to vote because we actually have some documents to be basing our decisions off of.
So I guess the question I have is if the street goes way out, does the street name stay the same? Or
Well, even out here, it's gonna be a county road. Even outside of the city, you know, that right there changes names all the way across. Alamosa, County Road,
Mildred, 26.
Well, it changes,
Jameson.
the Alamosa changes from Alamosa to L at city limits. Right, and then it picks up again when it comes back into the city, you know.
Yeah, and I think also like if you get, let's say a 200 lot subdivision way out here, if it helps you feel better, really shouldn't the county be making sure they're building a big enough road to take it to a major arterial of some sort of collector? So I think that's another way to look at it. So.
yeah, but I was gonna buy something in that outer subdivision there, I wanna make sure the county was having adequate roads, and I would come to the city and say, hey, you have to have adequate roadway. Yeah.
Okay, so, I feel like we kind of addressed that simple 3 mile area reducing the scope. The next item is review, discussion with county staff. So just real quick, an update, just again, confirm this direction. City staff, met with some county staff members, discussed the plan. We were asked by the county staff to review County Road G bypass, which, as you guys saw the petition, and based on the discussion we just had, if we reduce this back to 1 mile, we handled that. Now that's not on the map. So we're taking the County Road G bypass off the table. And that, the county wanted us to do that, and we talked it over with them about the 1 mile versus 3 mile. They were okay with us not drawing the street alignments past the 1 mile boundary. So that discussion happened. And I'm just giving you an update on that. So now we're on item C, which.
Wait a minute, Tracy.
Yes.
Did you say that, the staff, city staff and the county have discussed the bypass and decided to table that for the time being?
Correct.
Okay.
Without the bypass, I mean, since it's not our issue anymore, but wouldn't that be a decision made by CDOT, not by the city or the county?
Feels good.
Yeah, I think it would be a joint freeway project, when it's, obviously that would be a CDOT.
Well, that was.
For it to be a CDOT owned road, it would have to be developed and built to their standard, and, unless the county's built on the road and it became a bypass by default. If it can handle truck traffic of any size and, the number of trips a day, that it would just become a bypass by default. But, it would have to be like 168, going through Bayfield is a CDOT owned property, and
Right.
that would be the same thing.
Right. That's kind of what I thought it would be, more driven. Or like you say, a collaboration between the three, but probably a lot of the money coming from the CDOT instead of from the city or the county. That's a good point at this point, so.
It's a good question.
Who named it bypass? I'm just curious.
What's that?
Who named it bypass? I'm just, I was trying to when I
So
saw.
truck route, I guess is what we should.
A truck route, I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Well, it was added, when we handed this document off to the county initially, they discussed it internally, and they thought about that as being a natural, progression of that route from the port, that intersection, and then coming back up on 160 by the fairgrounds. And so that's why, when we say we had discussions with their staff and we decided to take it off, it wasn't a unilateral decision because they had it. We did not advocate for that anyway, so I don't want you guys to get the impression that city staff decided we're going to make a transportation plan change without talking about what you as a county asked, and the county, they asked again.
Okay, so, item number C, discuss revising the text of the plan to better define the applicability of the policy. So, we heard a lot from the public on this one too. When would we want, when would we advocate for a road alignment to match our street plan? And I think that's probably the best way to think about it is, you're a developer and you're proposing roads. Your roads should align with this plan. And it's not, that's really what it is. It's not that we're trying to make someone doing a minor subdivision put in a collector. Because the idea is that your subdivision is going to develop enough traffic or result in enough traffic that you need a road. So your road should align in a logical way with this plan. So I think what staff's again suggesting is that probably we should only require alignment if it's a major subdivision, as the county defines subdivisions. And I'd have to look closer at their thresholds, but most of the things we've reviewed have been like 3 lots, 2 lots. And I don't think that warrants asking someone to put in 60 or 80 feet of right of way. Because the intensity of that development's not so great that you can't put in that right of way at another time. Although, well, that's getting into the weeds, but I think, so I think what we're trying to do is just give the public some sense of comfort about what thresholds need to happen before we're gonna say, okay, well, right here, we would like to see Brandon's Boulevard, extended if a big development comes out here and it's gonna funnel into the city. So if that's just a lot split, should you really request that? If it's 20 lots, you probably should request that. So we wanna know your thoughts on that.
Well, Tracy, I think there is a plan in place, or a developer is going to develop some land out there on Rodale, right across from Center Street, Rolling Road, Shady Lane. And as from what I can tell by looking at the plans, there's one road into the subdivision and one road out. I mean, it's, you enter the subdivision off of Rodale and you come out of the subdivision on Rodale. That would seem like it would be problematic for first responders, especially the fire department, as big as their vehicles are, to get in and get out of there. Go ahead, Steve, you know something about that?
Philip, if you want to take this one, you're more than welcome to.
Okay, thank you. Well, specifically with this project, when you look at the way the developer has actually matched the intersection of Rolling Road, so what we're really looking at is connectivity alignments, and to have that intersection aligned with the existing intersection is not going to cause problems like if they did not have alignment on those roads, offset a few, several hundred feet or 10 or 50 feet. That causes problems when you have turning actions on intersections. And with regards to this minor subdivision, well, I guess it's a major subdivision of the county, but that road, the cul-de-sac has all been vetted by the Cortez Fire Protection District, which has the biggest equipment in the area, and they're satisfied with the ability to get in and out and have to get their equipment out. So, and this really brings a nice point in that, when we're looking at a huge parcel to the north, like that other parcel that is not developed to the north of that, to the west of that, for us to dictate that a line has to bisect that property, which, as opposed to saying we want this this huge development to egress onto Royale, adjacent across the street from Brandon Boulevard. So you have that intersection, the working intersection, sidewalk, etc. Because that developer may want to have curvilinear roads to slow down traffic, or not necessarily have just a straight line, because straight roads that are wide increase speed. And so I think that looking at this specific development that you mentioned, Tom, it really did work well with our plan in that it aligned with the existing intersections that we have, and Cortez Fire Protection has said it meets the criteria.
So you're saying that you could go from Rolling Road right into their subdivision?
Yes, sir.
Where I saw it. Yeah.
Phil, in a property like that, where we provide, or they're asking us to provide the water and the sewage, of course, I'm assuming that means trash pickup as well. And they have to sign an annexation agreement, right? So would those roads as written allow for garbage trucks, snow plows, that sort of thing in that division, if the annexation keeps.
Well, you know, right now, that's gonna be a private road, I don't know how the county's gonna, you know, color that road, whether it's gonna be red, non-maintained, privately. That's not gonna fall on our as far as responsibility was to us.
Even with annexation?
Well, if it was annexed, you know, that, there would have to be something with regards to, construction standards and whatnot for us to take over the maintenance and operation of the road. So that would be a component of that annexation. And right now, there is no plan to annex. We're not providing sewer, that's the same district, but they're out of the Copay sanitation district itself, because that provides the city,
Yeah.
fast service.
I'm sorry, Tracy, if I'm taking this in a different direction, I apologize.
It's okay. Well, these are all questions for another day too, so it's not a bad conversation. I think Becky's joined by Zoom. I'm not 100% sure. She's online.
Yes.
So, okay, so I guess, does anyone have any thoughts on us putting in the policy statements in the text that we will really only be reviewing or recommending alignments or major subdivisions or something of the like? Is there any concern about that?
It's 8 lots in the county where it jumps from minor to major, correct?
I'm not sure. Yeah, that's a good, because I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
It might be slightly fewer, but I'm not sure. I know like 2 and 3 lots for sure are not going to be or something. Again, we can look into those thresholds and then articulate that back, but I think we're just right now wanting to know if everyone is comfortable with that concept, and then we can review obviously the proposal after we work it out, and then work it back in the direction if you're not happy with that. Okay. So item number C2, I guess, I don't know if we really need to discuss this much, but I was thinking perhaps to flesh out the text in the plan to speak a little bit more on purpose, existing conditions, growth rates, et cetera, to kind of help put some of these policies into context. So I'm gonna guess no one has to be concerned with that. Or if you have any suggestions, now would be a good time to throw on the table as far as specifically background information. Okay, so item D is really the fun part of the evening, which is discuss reducing the scope and area of the plan. So we've given you guys blank maps and some highlighters. So I think, you know, the idea is for you to look at your map and contemplate. If you just feel like there's an area of town that you don't really need to worry about, let's say pink is no, we're not concerned about this area. We'll do, yellow is go. I shouldn't use green, too much green on the map. So yellow's gonna be go. Like, we wanna see stuff happen in, no, let's use orange. Let's use orange as go, because it's a bold color. So if we think there's an area of town where we should have alignments, use an orange marker. And then we'll use yellow as like, you know, just concern, but not real strongly either way. Let's sort of slow down here, maybe. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Yeah.
So
oranges go.
oranges go as far as properties that might be, we think might be developed. Yellows is
Maybes.
whoa,
Yeah.
or is it low, or it's too far out to worry about, or it's unavailable?
It's not your highest priority.
Okay, not our.
Maybe we should speak in terms of priority. So orange is highest priority, pink is lowest priority.
Orange is high,
Yes. Levi, can you write that down for me?
Yes.
Orange is high. I tried to get this sorted out, but it's the little things that I get hung up on.
and what color is low?
Yellow.
Low.
So, I mean, we can talk through it, you know, just if you just feel something you want to share.
Pink is middle.
Can you just want to circle?
Yeah, circle, or you can draw a street with a marker, whatever you want to do. But I think this the activity is just to get you to look at the map as a blank slate, knowing what you know about Cortez, and asking yourself, like, where do I see a need for expansion in the city? Like, where is a street really busy? It's probably going to need to be extended. Because this is just an activity that helps maybe you to get to where we are, which is this map that's already been drawn. But, you know, do we really want everything on here this time, or we want to look at this closer? So,
This is one quick question, not in regard to the places that we're looking at. As far as the buffer line goes, are we going to adjust those along section lines? So let's say that a property, like this is a good property right here, point out right, just south of 160. If over 50% of it is in there, then we'll actually extend it all the way out to the edge of that section line. And then if the property less than 50% of it, then probably in the next section line.
yeah, so E would be discussed revising it.
Oh,
Yeah.
my bad, I'm jumping ahead.
That's okay.
Sorry. I just wanted to know, so when I'm looking on these, if I see some areas in the map up there, what would it be? How would I go about it?
Yeah, those are some good thoughts about how to kind of approach that.
Thank you.
So maybe take 5 minutes and then we'll kind of start with whoever's the most excited about this idea.
We're all excited.
You know, can I add a comment to what Stephen had just mentioned? I think that, you know, if not section line, then certainly already developed county road would be a good stopping point, because then there wouldn't be any ambiguity with regards to the 1 to 3 mile thing. It's like the road stops here, we want it to come to a vote for the zoning board and the chair to sign, but on the other side of this road, that we know is the demarcation line is where we may change the policy if it's allowed.
There we go. You guys feel like you're
This is right, this is the kind of issue I have with the. Let's we stop here, or do we just? I'm sure.
So that's the next thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right, gotcha.
Okay, well, I know we probably need more time to draw. Somebody want to just throw something at a map? I'm gonna go start with Lance and move that way and come back. I can draw it for you if you just want to
Okay.
show me. So what's your most highest concern, priority?
Priorities to me are these. This little spot here. And this little two spots right here. And this one
Okay, we're gonna circle all together. So, that says coming out. This one?
That's a no, the one just east of Pocket Preserve, that comes right off the city property, that, they got that one.
And then this right here was a high priority.
Yeah, those were my priorities for me. And the one just north of L Road on Lebanon Road.
This,
Yeah, that one right there. And then the one just north of L.
Okay, any big, like, I'm not concerned about this area?
I'm not concerned about this area, because there's a canyon and it's kind of a natural break.
Is that like a way low or a medium?
That one's way low to me. And, any of these down here south of, I'm assuming that's north of G Road, but between G Road and that's not.
Is it going on the map where Lance is talking about, please?
Right here?
That's low priority.
Yeah.
Lance, you must be looking at my map.
Well, you all are doing the same thing, you know?
And then the other one clear to the west of those, that,
This right here.
yeah. And then those four little ones right there, yes, smaller ones, yes, all four of those,
Not concerned?
not concerned.
Okay.
And then anything north of L Road and west of Lemon Road. Or Blueberry Hill, or, yeah.
So this is not concerning?
Right,
Okay. I tried to buy big, I didn't know this market was so tiny.
that pretty much does mine.
Okay, so Robert, is there anything different for you that stands out?
Was that pink, the last one you used?
Yeah, this right here was not a concern, this was.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Tracy, was Lance alluding to, let's see. Up here at the same time, well, see, I am too. This one, the only place where Lance and I are different on everything he pointed out, I believe was on, Lebanon Road. Is that right, Lance?
Actually, Lebanon I wanted in, but anything north
Yes.
of L and west
I'm
of,
not worried about that area.
I'm not either, see. A lot of this between, say, 145 and Lebanon Road up north of Rodale is of concern. It seems like, a lot of the developing is going that way. Is that right, Phil?
It does. There's a lot of potential, there's a lot of open land there that can be developed. That's really adjacent to our northern boundaries.
That's pretty much, that's why I said Lance must have been looking at my map, because I've got the same place as Mark is in.
my eyes on that.
Mr. Fancy hashing going on over here.
When you give an engineer a map and a bunch of markers, this is what you do. I haven't even gotten to the north side of my map yet, but I'll try to make this quick. I'm pretty much in agreement in regard to further south of town. I think that all of this stuff here that is south of, I believe this is Tacoma, right? I'm not so certain the street alignment is that big of a deal because I highly doubt from a road building standpoint that it would never be built for us there. So I think for us, as far as street alignment is concerned, I don't think it's that big of a deal to look nice on a map, but our access is going to be coming from places on the south side of that canyon. So coming off of 27 and then coming north off of H. So for me, I don't really think the street connectivity there is that big of a deal because we're not going to be bringing anything from the north to the south across that. So I differ there a little bit. I don't think that anything over here near Liberty Estates is very important because that's already been developed And as far as street connectivity is concerned, we've got nothing anywhere close that would be coming over and into that.
The pink and orange make yellow.
Yeah.
Good deal. Now just north of Liberty Estates, I think that's probably should be a priority, so. Because it is directly adjacent to the city of Cortez. Obviously, there are more canyons and creeks and things that run through there, but I don't think
Steve, you're saying that's high priority.
I would say it's higher priority to look at for connectivity
Okay.
because it's closer to the city. And I don't know how deep all of these canyons are. I've never seen all those, but this one is a blank one. Maybe it would be more of a yellow. I really don't know what the topography is there. And the way that I'm basing my priority is how close it is directly to the city limits and then the probability of the road actually being built there. Because if we're going after something and there's really low priority of a road actually being built through there, for example, I know that one draft that we had Mildred coming all the way through south connecting with H. And no developer in this plan is going to put a bridge there. You know, so for me, as far as connectivity is concerned, they're all going to be brand new streets down there. So that's kind of how I'm basing my thought process.
Could I add a few comments?
Yeah. Okay.
So, you know, we're actually very fortunate that the county has a really good bridge system in the city. You know, Little North Mildred already has a major connector. Lebanon, same thing. The one that I'm really looking at and as a potential, and actually this was mentioned in our county meeting, was extending Empire, East Empire over to 29. And there's actually an existing three-phase utility corridor there. I think that might be Tri-State, which would just go south of this the trailer park there, but north of the greenhouses and the hayfield. So that would be a really good extension of a major arterial for us to connect into an existing county grid. And then, you know, of course, what is east of Conquistador Golf Course is a big area that could be developed that we want to keep on our radar. And, you know, I think that as far as going west with the Hartman Draw, that's pretty problematic. We have a physical barrier there. And actually, Empire, although there's a large parcel here that can be developed, the Empire right away on the west side of 491 is not a viable option for us to utilize. A lot of big power on the ground there, Empire Electric. So for us to develop that right away would take a huge lift monetarily to build these utilities.
So Phil, I think you said that, probably high on the list would be extending Empire east, to 29.
There's a lot of developable land there, there's always this utility corridor. So really, really, I think we'll be back to development of that private property on the other side of the. But the county staff wasn't supportive as well.
County staff was.
They were.
I was with Congress on Tucker Lane, which is east.
Yes.
South of the Gulf Coast.
Tucker, yeah, and also right there. Yeah, that one, there's a, you know, a plotted subdivision there that wasn't improved, but that is a definite, you know, hotspot for us that we were to go connection into these parcels here and also Golf Course Lane. We wouldn't want, I don't think, I know we have an identified spot on the original map, but tying into Golf Course Lane, we totally on that subdivision is, you know, design, which is a very narrow street with home sites that is not for through traffic, it's just for destination traffic. You know? So I think, you know, if we were to, you know, have this Tucker Lane tie in on the south side of the golf course where they could, these people could go north or south, and then also open up into these larger developed parcels to the east would be a good use. Yes.
So right here in that particular area, that's phase 3, 4, and 5 of Fairway View Estates. And I mean, the infrastructure is partially already in. So, Tucker Lane someday will tie in to the bottom golf course.
And I think that when that is done, we keep in mind, we may have some county parcels, one with access, 145, we have that right away. And just to keep that in mind. But, and I said, like I said, we're fortunate that the county grid system really ties into a lot of our larger streets. But say, for instance, this parcel here that is of concern with everybody, when I look at this, our first 2 iterations, we had this thing cut, bisected into 4, quadrants with straight lines, as opposed to just making this intersection with Granite Gate a hot spot, saying that we want this development to tie in here because it works with our existing infrastructure, the existing intersection, what makes it safe for travel. But for us to dictate what's going to go on this large piece of land with a line bisecting it, I think for me is short-sighted, because the developer should have the ability to make the roads turn and have road eyes, so you don't have a lot of high-speed traffic. As long as the tie-in here is in a safe way, these existing grids provide efficient travel.
Phil? Where Brandon Gate comes into Rodale. Yeah, hasn't, if I'm not mistaken, hasn't some property there been bought? Yeah. No, it's on the north side of Vale. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Lighthouse Baptist Church is property.
That's just negotiated there, that 9-acre parcel was carved off of the Jarrett subdivision, and that is for that church. And actually, we just approached about potentially providing water service to it as a part of the the infrastructure we're going to be putting into the subdivision.
And that's right there at Brandon's Gate, is it not?
Yes, it's actually west of the fence line that Brandon's Gate actually falls on Brandon's Gate falls west of the fence line, the property's east of the fence line.
Okay.
And I think that, this would be really just a matter of driveway, parking lot access for that site's use.
Okay. I wasn't sure about that was information I had. And that area that we're talking about looks like it's being developed pretty extensively.
Right, well, it is certainly in this 40-acre area here, and like you're saying, there's a potential for huge development. Or, it could be, and it could stay a working, grazing and ranch area for years to come.
So, just a quickie on the Empire extension. Isn't Empire Electric building a solar farm in that?
They are on the other side of 29.
Oh, it's on the other side, okay, I thought it was just south. My bad.
Yeah, so it's somewhere east of
My bad. I apologize.
Well, hello, baby. I didn't even know that you'd come in.
It was really hard to do this transition, so I think someone else on. What's that? It's a lot better. I can see now, so that's good. Very happy. Huh? I didn't end up going skiing. My dad was afraid to drive up there in the snow, which is probably good because snow goes out right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, there's a way.
Well, he's probably not listening, and he already knows that he's the worst driver in the universe, so.
So, any other, we can take your maps and kind of look at it to you guys want to move on this particular element, but is there anything else that you guys want to note? Yeah, I feel like we got it pretty well covered because, you know, this is a high area, this, I think everyone's kind of pointing to, you know, a lot of what's aligning with some of the stuff on here.
Just can't see.
I mean, I don't know, this area here is kind of has this constraint of the drainage. However, I think up until the drainage, there is some land.
I think that you had a great suggestion if, you can just take our maps, superimpose them on top of each other, we're all in agreement. I think that would be a great place to start with the high priority, where there's a little bit of distinction and, you know, maybe analyze the staff. Well, should it not be, and then ultimately kind of move forward in that regard, just take it how you want.
So next, there's no other pressing inspiration on priority. And I have some notes based on just questions that you guys have been asking about this topic, but item E is discuss revising the plan map to align boundaries with property lines or right of way rather than a soft buffer. And based on kind of what I've heard from some of you, I made some notes, and one of the ideas is that I gleaned from my conversation is we could, staff would take this back and not make it soft and we'll make it square based on some of these ideas, which would be to maybe go around a subdivision rather than, you know, like this ball cuts through the subdivision, we would just square it off around the subdivision. These are already platted, so you might as well just put them in or out all the way. And then in or out, depending on maybe size, proximity to roads, and then portion of the lot. So we can go in one direction where we're just like, if you're touching the buffer, you're in. Or we can say if you're 50% or more in, then you're in. If you're less than 50%, we'll move you out. You can also get more complicated and say, you know, if it's like in a low area of priority, we're just going to keep it out, which simplifies things. So, do all those ideas sound reasonable for, you know, how staff, but everyone is kind of, it sounds like everyone's kind of agreeing that we'll get rid of the bubble across the property and we'll square this thing off. So while it, you know, we're not bound to this 1 mile, specific 1 mile, so we do have the ability to kind of grow a little bit past or a little bit less. Just make this not as literal.
My suggestion there is however we choose to move forward in regard to adjusting the line is let's perhaps write some guidelines that makes it black and white, how to include or how to exclude certain properties, just because there will come a point in time when the master streets plan has to be updated and all of us are not going to be on board and you and Nina may not be, you know what I'm saying? So just that it's a natural progression of, hey, we did our due diligence on the front side and say, this is how we adjust our bubble, if you will. So that way it's nice and streamlined into whatever it may be. So that can be a document that guides future folks in the future planning process.
Honestly, all these platted subdivisions are mostly in, with the exception of this one, where I think.
Right. But you're saying that all of these others are plotted?
Yeah, so that's a good point, yes. So if they're gray, it means, you know, they're kind of a platted like subdivision, so maybe that's a tricky one. Because chances are these guys aren't going to subdivide further and they're not going to be able to put a road in anyway. But this one right here, I think it's this one. maybe it's not, there's one of the subdivisions here, but only down here that left a right of way through two of the properties. And that's kind of weird. But there might be opportunities where if they do continue, they re-subdivide an existing subdivision, might increase the density further, that you might want to have a connection. I don't know, so it's kind of something to consider. How we, how we move them in or out of the boundary. Maybe we treat them the same as the other properties.
Tracy, this version doesn't seem to have, doesn't have identified areas in city limits. For roads that you should identify for properties that aren't subdivided, but is, or is it just,
It was a blank map for you guys to go.
okay,
This is someplace I'm concerned about.
okay,
Yes.
I just Googled them, my examples, but I do not see the design.
So here's drawing where you just know that you're using.
Oh, as opposed to highlighting the area. Yeah.
Yeah, so like if you think we need a arterial here.
Yeah. How about a double wire across the-
I got direction, and again, this is, we're gonna process this conversation and bring back revised documents, so we're not gonna completely throw this map out at all. Revise this map into these discussions. We said this area is a low priority, you might go look at it and go, well, let's take these roads off, take these future thoroughfare suggestions off that area. We'll fix the boundaries so it's square. We'll revise the policy text. And so at this point, I think we're ready for F, which is public questions and comments. My understanding is we had for now number 2 attendees. So our IT support is going to call on them and unmute them so they can come to our loudspeakers and then we can hear their comments.
On this information about the bypass, is the staff or someone from City Hall going to get back to these people and tell them that it has been tabled?
No, I don't know that we've responded to the petition in such a manner.
Yeah, I'm not sure what this person was responding
Okay,
to. Yeah, the petition people probably are not.
who was circulating the petition?
It was, concerned citizens.
Does this concerned citizen have a name?
Yeah, they do.
Then I would get over that concerned citizen.
Yeah,
We can do that.
they are,
And then let them contact all the people that signed the petition. But they need to, they need to be some clarification of what we're doing and what's going on. That's what I'm concerned with.
They may have signed on to this conversation, so hopefully.
Well, if not possibly, just a notice in the newspaper or something, Tracy. But, if these people are concerned enough to sign a petition, they need to be informed of what's going on.
Mr. Butler, I was circulating, copied on an email that was sent to the county commissioners as well as the planning board from a concerned citizen regarding that, and I replied in kind about the discussion we had that was requested by the county and then also requested to be removed. I do not know if that person is on that signature list or not, but we can certainly look at that tomorrow. We'll follow up.
Okay, thank you, Phil.
When did you meet with the county planning department and make this decision?
It's a week ago Monday, so.
And they didn't say anything about it at the county commissioners meeting this weekend. I didn't hear anything. I listened to the meeting, but I didn't hear him say anything about it.
I am not aware of them following. I don't know, have they met since last Monday?
Yeah, you never do that.
So they met yesterday.
Yeah.
and Tuesday before. I'm not aware of it coming up, but it doesn't mean it didn't happen.
So that's a discussion for right now. I'll leave it there.
You got a comment or not comment?
Bill, are you able to verify if we have people wanting to comment?
There's no hands raised, so if anyone that's attending wants to speak or comment, please raise your hand.
Yeah, there's no rush. Let's get this bus moving down the road.
See, no hand, let's move this to the next item.
Okay. So the public outreach plan, not as fun as drawing on maps, but you just got a notepad so you can write down your direction and thoughts. We want to discuss additional public meetings because we've been asked to have in-person meetings. And I'm still not clear on if that's really an option right now. But we should have additional meetings either way. I don't know if, option A is we put everything on hold until someone green lights public meetings, or we design a format that's comfortable. Or B, we have at least another electronic meeting, and then continue to work towards an in-person meeting. So I'm not sure. And how many more public meetings do you believe we should have at this point? After we make these revisions. We've already come to the action. No one's asked us to add more streets, so I think we're okay. Yeah.
So the original list you put out as far as the communication plan and that sort of thing, have we done all that, or looking at the warrant to do on that?
Correct, yeah, so we've done the public outreach that was originally proposed, and so we're at the point where we either do more public outreach, or we discuss whether or not it's ready to be discussed for adoption. My understanding is the public believes we need more public outreach. So I think staff recommending we do that, we do more public outreach.
Yeah, I guess I'm in favor of that too. Kind of take that same list we had and just expand it down with some of the same ideas.
Yeah.
We're gonna be meeting with you all again, first week in April. I think, what I would like to do is correlate all this data and what you gave us, and then bring that back to you to get your nod on that collected map. And then, I think by that time, we should be able to have a meeting in here similar to this with capacity limitations that the city council is doing. It doesn't necessarily have to be a board meeting as opposed to a staff engagement with the public that want to comment on maps that we've developed.
Yeah.
And I think that would be a really low hanging fruit for us to achieve. And I think by doing that engagement, that can help us to determine if we need to move forward with more, or if this effort has alleviated the concerns in the community.
Agreed.
Sounds good to me.
So we're gonna do one more meeting and then see where we're at that point. Is that? kind
Well,
of-
after we meet with P&Z in April, get everything canned up, like we'll have the means and method policy statement that you want to see reflected, and area about how this was determined and how we move forward. Have your verbiage done, Tracy, and then let the board ratify it, and then we can set up a public engagement in this room that will meet with the capacity limitations and spacing. And then see what kind of commentary we get at that point. We can have we can push that out via email to the board and see if they feel like we can move forward with adoption, potentially in May. If that's, something that everyone's comfortable with.
I think that's a great idea, Phil. I think that this is a big enough room that we can offer, adequate people here in person, maps in front of them, they can bring forth their concerns, and it's kind of a first come, first serve. And if we've got a line out the door, then that tells me we need to have another meeting, or we need to have one meeting. And I think that there are several meetings here in Montezuma County that can adequately handle social distancing and guidelines within our COVID guidelines, if you will. So I think that's a great place to start, circle back around our April meeting and then make a plan from there.
Good.
Okay, I think we covered G. Sounds like we are at the end of the agenda. Any,
We don't need a motion, this is a work session.
I guess just one of them.
I have a question, and this is my suggestion. I think that as a board serving citizens, I think that you're more helpful in person. If we're able to meet here safely in person, is it something that we can start to move forward in person meetings to get back to work with the constituents and be able to them?
Do we need to bring our vaccine passport with us?
I will not be bringing them.
On that,
It's all.
And support staff, the city manager, the attorney, and the city clerk participate, and we can have 57 people attend this in this room, socially distanced, as long as they're wearing masks. And that criteria has already been set forth, and we can forward that to you all to look at, so you're aware, and then we can move forward on that. We can talk about that, your April meeting, and where you can have a vote.
57 people in this room?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Seems like a lot.
If it's 57 in this room, then I think that it's time to get back here in person. That's my suggestion.
And the public who will not wear a mask can go into the Mesa Verde room, and we have it set up in there. It can be the same thing as for council. I believe there's for 19 people in there. So if you guys want to meet in person, it can be done now. And for those who don't want to wear a mask, we have an option, and those who will wear a mask can be in the council chambers with you guys.
One of the questions is who is using the rosemary?
Well, Tracy just asked who's going to be doing the policing for this, and I think the setup was we had Cortez Fire Protection District doing a temperature check and making sure the masks are made worn. They did have PD support to enforce that, for compliance, and I think that might be a good mechanism to see how it works out. But there were no issues last night. I think we had a couple of people in the audience, but this might, get a little more interest because it's so, it's working with the county and out in the county. So, but those parameters are set up. I mean, if in fact that's what you guys want to do, we can, we can talk to the city manager about making sure those things are in play here.
Sounds good. Through. Awesome.
Bill, we're done.